Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Greer Klein. I'm the Samvera Community Manager. Happy to be talking to you today, just giving you an update on what's going on in the Samvera community. So I'll give a short overview of the community for anyone who isn't familiar, and a very brief overview of Samvera's technologies in case you aren't familiar. And then I'll focus on sort of what's going on in the community right now and a couple of things that might be specifically of interest to Fedora folks. So we'll kick it off with the Samvera community. So Samvera is based on the premise that no single system can provide the full range of repository-based solutions for a given institution's needs, and that no single institution can resource the development of a full range of solutions on their own. So working together, the community creates sustainable solutions using a common infrastructure within which there's flexibility to tailor solutions to local demands. So Samvera began in 2008, and then it was the Hydra project. It emerged out of discussions between the University of Virginia, University of Hull, Stanford University, and Fedora Commons. And there was an early recognition that any output from the project would only work sustainably if it could be built on and further developed by other institutions. So from the beginning, the key aim was to enable others to join the project and establish a framework for sustaining the community as much as the technology. And in 2015, the leaders in the Hydra project attempted to trademark the logo and discovered that Hydra couldn't be used. And so the community renamed itself Samvera. And Samvera is an Icelandic term meaning togetherness. So the Samvera community and its partners have grown from an initial group of 5 over a decade ago to now a very broadly based community. We've got over 60 adopters around the world and over 30 formally committed partner institutions. Samvera has a partnership model where institutions are invited to become partners rather than a membership model. So we have 16 active working and interest groups. They form the heart of our community work, and anyone is welcome to attend interest group meetings anytime to ask questions. Those are usually facilitated by our product owners and tech leads, and it's an opportunity to learn from other adopters or potential adopters. And then our working groups really drive the community and the technology forward. We also have a weekly tech call. Anyone is welcome there as well. We have an active Slack for questions, and that's used by both developers and also repository managers and other non-technical folks who work in repositories. And as of October 2020, the community has 1 staff member, and that's me. I'm the community manager. I'm always available to help if you want to connect or contribute in any way, or if you have any questions about Samvera's community or technology. I'm happy to connect you with someone in the community who can help. And we have 4 service providers who are voting partners. They're an integral part of our community, and they work with institutions to implement Samvera software locally. And then they also offer cloud-hosted instances of our multi-tenant solution pack, Haiku. So leadership for Samvera. Samvera is led by a board. It was formerly called the steering group, but now it's a board. They're all elected representatives from the partner institutions. And 2020 was our first year with a fully elected body for our board. There are 3 seats elected annually, and members serve a 3-year rotation. Samvera partners collectively advance the project in the community for the benefit of all participants. And sustainability and the ability to hire me as a staff member was a big focus in the community for the past 3 years, when the community recognized that they really needed to have some ongoing income to ever be able to hire a staff member. So they launched a series of working groups and identified this contribution model, which was approved in 2019. And the expectation is that partners will contribute at these rates beginning in 2022. This past year, even with COVID, we saw all but 7 partners able to contribute at that rate. And a handful are able to provide more funds than that rate, depending on their budget every year. So we're feeling pretty good about the contribution model, but next year will be our first year where it really truly takes effect. I'll talk really briefly about Samvera Technology. So Samvera is designed to provide a rich front-end framework for a Fedora repository metadata and data storage layer. And Solar allows for fast searching and rich discovery of content. And Valkyrie allows for a use of combinations of PostgreSQL, Disk, Fedora, or Solar for metadata discovery and storage. And next is a set of core components, the Ruby gems, that provide interfaces interacting with Fedora and Solar, PCDM compliant data models, and other commonly needed features like characterization, text extraction, and derivative generation. And then the Hyrax Rails engine provides a fully featured repository front end, has self-deposit and administrative workflow features. If you're at all familiar with Sophia or curation concerns, then a lot of how Hyrax operates will be familiar. Hyrax has sort of descended from those technologies, those systems. It's primed to be used with Fedora, Solar, Blacklight, and a relational database and Rails. And your application can also be highly tailored, built on those core components. You could have a lightweight wrapper built on Hyrax, or an instance of a solution bundle like Haiku or Avalon Media Systems, which is our AV-focused technology. Oh yes, I always forget there's this little animation in here, so you can see how it can build up. Yeah, so there's everything. So speaking of those solution bundles, so Avalon's the first solution bundle. It was the first one built in the community. Its use cases for managing and providing access to large collections of digital audio and video. And it's currently built on the Samvera core components. And the plan is for a future version to be built on top of Hyrax. The use case for the Haiku solution bundle is multi-tenancy. It's built on top of Hyrax. So it comes with the features of Hyrax, but being multi-tenant means that there's a single repository owner that can create multiple instances for the repository, and it can be deployed in the cloud. It's being developed right now primarily by service providers and also by some consortia to make it a very easy way to offer hosted repositories. So I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on right now in the community. So we've got some active grants. They're really driving the current development of the software. So the University of Oregon and Oregon State Digital Libraries, they have a one-year project grant. They're addressing the development of some analytics and reporting tools for Hyrax. We have Advancing Haiku, which is a collaborative project. It is between Ubiquity Press, which is one of our service providers in the UK, the British Library, and the University of Virginia Library. And it's bringing some structural improvements to the Haiku platform. And then we have two consortia that represent 94 academic libraries in the US, and they're wrapping up work right now on a pilot for Haiku, really working on the consortial use case. So a consortial run institutional repository that has ultra low cost hosting. And looking ahead to this year in the community, we've got some cool things going on. So next week, we're launching a repository story map. That's something that our marketing working group has put together. It uses the story map software to showcase some Samvera repositories and some interesting items in Samvera repositories, so someone can sort of click through these maps and see and read a little bit about different implementations of Samvera technology. So we're excited about that. We have a code of conduct response team right now, so we're developing a response team. We realized that our code of conduct, while good, didn't really have code of conduct response guidelines. So what to do when there's a code of conduct violation. So we've been working with a consultant to build up this response team model, and so that we know exactly what to do in the case of a code of conduct violation. And that's going really well. I think we'll wrap up probably this summer. We have a fiscal sponsor change, so we're moving from Lyrasis to Oasis Open. That's underway. That's been a big part of 2021 so far has been that process. That's part of why the steering committee is now called the Samvera board. Starting July 1st, we'll be under the Oasis Open umbrella, will be our own 501c6 LLC. So that's pretty exciting. It's not going to change what the community looks like day to day, but sort of on the back end, it gives us some ongoing independence. And we're really looking for other income streams with the hope of being able to hire and sustain a technical coordinator role to go across all of the technologies. And looking at the technologies, some things that are going on right now, the HYRAX 3.0 and then 3.0.1 just released, which we're really excited about. There are sprints for HYRAX issue closeout that are going on through June. A lot of backlog of issues had built up, so there's a team working through that every 2 weeks to really clear out and prepare to design just a better HYRAX roadmap. Our roadmap was a little bit neglected for a while, but we've got a lot of energy in the community there again. We've got several grant applications in process. So we've got our fingers crossed for a grant related to HYRAX development, and also those consortia working on Haiku for Consortia have a plan for a third phase of their grant that would be really excellent if they're given that opportunity. And our UX interest group is working on some design principles. It's a pretty fun project. It's thinking about design principles to reflect the values and the goals of the community that could perhaps be applied to the application design process before development begins, or for creating wireframes for new features, or acting as a reference point in active development, or for evaluating existing applications. So there's a team working on that, and we're hoping to unveil that probably at Samvera Connect in the fall. And finally, I want to end with 2 current initiatives that might be of interest to Fedora users. So first, that we're very close to completing a full integration of Valkyrie so that it's native to HYRAX. And that work will allow HYRAX implementers a lot of flexibility, as Valkyrie can talk to Fedora and it can also talk to other storage engines as well. And this HYRAX work has become important. I'm working to find testers in the community for the Fedora 6 beta. We've had some initial testing that indicates that Valkyrie can sort of speak to Fedora 6 without an adapter. So that would make it easier for Samvera Technology adapters to migrate to Fedora 6. This would involve swapping Fedora 4 with Fedora 6 and running some tests. I'm still working to identify folks in the community who have capacity for this work, because my understanding is that this is requires sort of a senior developer work. But I've identified a few folks who are looking to work on this, and so I hope to see that happening more than likely this summer. We have some events coming up. Anyone is welcome. These are all free. Our Samvera Virtual Connect online conference is next week, April 20th and 21st. We're a really excellent program this time around. I'm pretty excited about it. A lot of short presentations and lightning talks, so I think it'll be of interest. And we also have a developers congress coming up May 3rd through 6th, and looking at what kind of Fedora testing can be done as part of that developers congress is on the list of topics. So if that's of interest, be sure to check that out. We're also planning a summer developer congress. It's going to focus on mentoring new contributors. So more information on that to come, but I think that's something that we've been missing in the community that we're looking forward to. So that is all for me. I'm happy to answer questions if anyone has any. And thanks again for inviting me.
Great, thank you, Heather. Yeah, a lot going on.